repeated nearly the same answer. He received a nod of approval. Amara bit her lip, fighting the urge to speak up. She had learned from experience. Calling out only made things worse. Still, Amara wasn't weak. What no one at the school knew was that back in Atlanta, she had spent 5 years training in Muay Thai with her uncle, a retired fighter. For her, it wasn't just about self-defense. It was survival. The streets she grew up in were rough, and her uncle had taught her early, never start a fight. But if someone forces one on you, make sure you finish it. Those words echoed in her mind every time she felt the sting of injustice. Yet, she didn't want to be the fighter here. She wanted to be normal, to fit in, maybe even to make a friend or two. That's why she stayed silent when the joke started. When someone accidentally knocked her books out of her hands. When whispers followed her down the hallway like shadows. But silence has a breaking point. One Friday afternoon, as Amara walked out of history class, she overheard Kelsey's voice. Loud, mocking. She thinks she's tough, walking around like she's somebody. Newsflash, you're not. The words sliced deeper than Amara wanted to admit. She clenched her fists, then forced herself to breathe. Not here. Not yet. That night, she sat at the kitchen table while her mom reheated leftovers. Rough day? Her mom asked gently. Amara forced a smile. Nothing I can't handle. But in her sketchbook, the page told the truth, dark, jagged lines sketching the outline of a faceless bully. She was trying so hard to stay in control, to rise above it. But the storm was building, and deep down, she knew, sooner or later, someone would push her too far. The weeks that followed painted a cruel picture of what Amara's life at her new school would be like. At first, it was little things, whispers behind her back, fake smiles that dissolved into laughter the moment she walked past. But bullies, like wolves, grow bolder when they sense their prey won't bite back. And Kelsey? She was a pack leader. One morning, Amara opened her locker only to find it stuffed with crumpled papers, each one scribbled with slurs and insults. Go back where you came from. Freak. Nobody wants you. Here. She stood there, frozen, her heart hammering in her chest as other students snickered nearby. The humiliation was sharp, but even sharper was the silence of those who saw and said nothing. During gym class, the bullying escalated into physical violence. While running laps, one of Kelsey's friends accidentally shoved Amara, sending her sprawling onto the hard floor. Her knees scraped, palms stung, and the laughter that followed felt louder than the whistle blowing in her ear. The gym teacher glanced over but did nothing, just told Amara to shake it off. At home, Amara tried to hide her bruises, covering them with long sleeves. But her mother noticed a change. The way her daughter's smile seemed forced, the way her shoulders slumped a little lower each day. Talk to me, baby, Monique pleaded one night. But Amara shook her head. It's fine, Mom. I can handle it. What she didn't say was that the anger inside her was growing, boiling like a storm waiting for release. Still, Amara tried to hold on. She found solace in her sketchbook, in long runs after school, where she pushed her body until her lungs burned. But no amount of running could outrun the cruelty she faced daily. One afternoon in the cafeteria, things escalated. Amara carried her lunch tray, looking for a quiet spot. Just as she passed Kelsey's table, a voice rang out. Hey, new girl. Before Amara could react, Kelsey stuck out her foot. The tray flew from Amara's hands. Food splattering across the floor, milk spilling down her hoodie. The cafeteria erupted in laughter. Phones came out, recording, snapping pictures. For a moment, Amara just stood there, frozen, cheeks burning. Every instinct screamed at her to lash out, to show them exactly who they were messing with. But she took a shaky breath, bent down, and started cleaning the mess with trembling hands. The laughter echoed, cruel and relentless. That was the moment Kelsey smirked, her voice dripping with venom. Pathetic. She's just weak. That word, weak, sank into Amara's bones. But instead of breaking her, it planted a seed of resolve. The next day, Amara's English teacher assigned a group project. As fate would have it, Amara was paired with Kelsey and her friend Jenna. The air between them was thick with hostility. While Amara tried to focus on the assignment, Kelsey leaned close, whispering where only she could hear. I don't know why you even try. No one's ever going to respect you here. Amara clenched her pen so tightly it almost snapped. She met Kelsey's gaze, her voice steady but low. Respect isn't given. It's earned. You should remember that. Kelsey's eyes narrowed. No one ever talked back to her. That single moment marked a shift, a silent declaration that Amara wasn't going to be their punching bag forever. The bullying intensified. Notes in her locker turned into cruel messages online. Fake social media accounts posted edited pictures of her, spreading rumors that she was violent, dangerous. Teachers turned a blind eye. Classmates avoided eye contact, and Amara felt the walls closing in. But what they didn't know was that Amara was changing too. Every night, she revisited the lessons her uncle had drilled into her. Footwork, strikes, balance, breathing. The movements that had once been routine now became therapy, a way to channel the storm inside. She wasn't preparing to fight for revenge. She was preparing because deep down, she knew the day was coming when she'd have no other choice. That day came sooner than expected. It was a Friday evening after school. Amara stayed late in the library, finishing homework. By the time she stepped outside, the courtyard was nearly empty. Nearly. Kelsey and her crew were waiting, leaning against the wall like predators lying in wait. Well, look who it is, Kelsey sneered. All alone. Amara's pulse quickened, but she kept her face calm. She tried to walk past, but Kelsey blocked her path. You think you're tough now? Talking back to me in class? Acting like you're better than us. The others circled, smirking, taunting. One of them shoved her shoulder. Another tugged at her backpack. Laughter mixed with insults. The circle tightening like a trap. Amara's fists curled at her sides. Every fiber of her being screamed for restraint. Her mother's words, her uncle's lessons. Don't start the fight. But when Kelsey shoved her hard against the wall, the decision was made for her. The storm she'd been holding back for weeks was about to break. The courtyard was silent, except for the mocking voices that surrounded Amara. The sun was dipping low, shadows stretching long across the pavement. Kelsey shoved her again, harder this time, and Amara's back slammed against the wall. A ripple of laughter echoed. What's wrong? Kelsey jeered. Not so tough without Mommy around. The others chimed in, their voices cruel daggers. Hit her, Kelsey. Let's see if she cries. Amara's chest rose and fell rapidly. Her knuckles were white, fists clenched so tightly her nails bit into her palms. Every muscle screamed to fight back, but she forced herself to breathe. She remembered her uncle's voice. Control is strength. Don't waste it on fools. But if they force your hand, finish it. And then it happened. Kelsey grabbed Amara's sketchbook, the one place where she poured all her pain, all her escape, all her dreams. She flipped it open, sneering at the pages. Ah, look, she draws. What is this therapy for losers? She tore a page clean out, crumpling it in her fist. That was the breaking point. Something inside Amara snapped, but not like glass, like steel. Cold, sharp, unbreakable. She stepped forward, her voice low but steady. Put it down. Kelsey smirked and shoved her. Or what? In that instant, Amara moved, faster than any of them could process. She sidestepped, grabbed Kelsey's wrist, and twisted it sharply, forcing her to drop the sketchbook. Gasps erupted. Before Kelsey could react, Amara's elbow connected lightly but firmly with her ribs, controlled, precise, not wild. Kelsey stumbled back, clutching her side, eyes wide with shock. Whoa! Did you see that? One of the girls shouted, fear creeping into her voice. Kelsey, red with humiliation, lunged forward with a scream. She swung wildly, but Amara ducked, pivoted, and swept her leg in a clean arc. Kelsey's feet left the ground, and she crashed on the pavement, the air knocked from her lungs. The circle of bullies fell silent. Amara stood over her, breathing steadily. Every lesson, every hour of training with her uncle, came back like muscle memory. She hadn't lost control, she had gained it. But Kelsey wasn't done. Fueled by rage and embarrassment, she scrambled up and charged again. This time, Amara didn't wait. She blocked the attack, grabbed Kelsey's arm, and pinned it behind her back in one fluid motion. Kelsey cried out, her voice breaking with fear. The others didn't move. Phones that had been raised to record the humiliation now captured something entirely different. A reversal no one expected. Amara leaned in close, her voice a whisper only Kelsey could hear. "I told you, don't push me." Then, just as quickly, she released her, stepping back with calm composure. Kelsey stumbled forward, clutching her arm, eyes wide with shock and something else, fear. For the first time, the predator looked like prey. The courtyard was still. The bullies exchanged uneasy glances. One girl muttered, "She's crazy," but her voice lacked conviction. Another whispered, "No, she's dangerous." Amara bent down, picked up her sketchbook, and brushed the dirt from its cover. She didn't shout, didn't gloat, didn't need to. Her silence was louder than any words. Finally, she turned, her eyes locking on Kelsey's trembling figure. "This was your choice," Amara said, her voice steady. "Remember that." With that, she walked away, head high, step steady, leaving behind a circle of stunned faces and one broken bully. The videos would spread before the night was over. Everyone in school would see what happened, but no camera could capture the true weight of that moment. The shift of power, the breaking of chains, the birth of respect earned not through fear, but through undeniable strength. Amara didn't just fight back. She changed the story. The following Monday, the school halls buzzed with whispers, not of taunts this time, but of awe. Everywhere Amara walked, eyes followed. Some were curious, some cautious, others quietly respectful. The video of her confrontation with Kelsey had spread like wildfire over the weekend. What was meant to be a humiliation had become a declaration. Amara wasn't someone to be toyed with. For once, the laughter stopped when she passed. The stares were still there, but different now. Hesitant, uncertain, tinged with fear and admiration. She wasn't invisible anymore. She was undeniable. Kelsey, on the other hand, wasn't the same. Her swagger was gone. Her bruised pride showed in the way she avoided Amara's gaze, her silence louder than her usual cruel remarks. Some of her friends began to drift away from her, whispering that maybe they had crossed the line. The balance of power in the school had shifted, and everyone felt it. But Amara didn't let the attention consume her. She wasn't interested in being feared or worshipped. At lunch, when she sat alone, a few students hesitated before finally joining her. One girl, shy and soft-spoken, admitted quietly, "I've seen how they treat you. I wanted to say something, but I was scared. What you did, it was brave." Amara smiled, the first genuine smile in weeks. "Brave isn't about not being scared," she said gently. "It's about not letting fear decide who you are." Slowly, the walls around her began to crack. A few classmates started standing by her side, defending her when whispers returned. Teachers, now aware of the incident, began paying closer attention. Some out of guilt for turning a blind eye, others out of fear of being exposed in the same way. At home, when Monique heard about what happened, her heart clenched with both pride and worry. "I never wanted you to have to fight," she said softly, brushing a strand of hair from her daughter's face. Amara took her mother's hand, eyes steady. "I didn't want to, Mom, but sometimes you don't get to choose when a fight finds you. You just get to choose how it ends." Those words carried weight, echoing long after they were spoken. As days turned into weeks, Amara found herself no longer shrinking under the weight of cruelty. She began sketching again with renewed passion, each line filled with resilience. She joined the track team, channeling her energy into running, not just from pain, but toward a future she was shaping with her own strength. Kelsey's reign of terror faded. No longer able to intimidate with ease, she was forced to confront her own weakness. Rumors swirled that her parents were furious after seeing the video. Some even said she was sent to therapy, forced to reflect on the ugliness she had unleashed. But Amara didn't dwell on her enemy's downfall. She knew the fight wasn't about Kelsey alone. It was about something bigger. It It was about every person who had ever been pushed aside, mocked, or silenced because of who they were. She had carried their weight in that courtyard, and in standing tall, she had given them a piece of courage, too. On the last day of the semester, Amara stood in the hallway, sketchbook in hand. She looked around at the faces, some still hostile, some neutral, some kin to them before. For the first time, she didn't feel like an outsider. She felt like herself. Whole, strong, unapologetic. She knew challenges would come again. Bullies didn't disappear overnight, and prejudice didn't die in a single fight. But she also knew this. She would never be silent again. She turned the page in her sketchbook, drawing a figure standing tall against a storm. Above it, she wrote one line. Sometimes strength isn't about fighting back. It's about refusing to stay down. And as she closed her book, a question lingered, one that echoed not just for her, but for everyone watching her story unfold. When life pushes you to the wall, will you let yourself break, or will you rise and remind the world who you really are?